questions?
Well, we know that Sam, Mark, and Eric already have some kind of questions which towards style, perhaps, I think might be the word that you guys said. Does anybody have any coding questions? Pressing coding questions?
I have a coding question, but it's more of a little learning need for a learning module, and I'm too tired to read everything.
Okay.
I'm not sure how relevant it is. I'll put it in a sentence, and then you can decide if you want to address it, or if I've got to go do my 4 days of research and try to figure it out and break everything. So what I've been banging my head against these blinking include docx things that don't include section breaks. So, and Jonathan said, oh, just if it's that heavily formatted, just do PDFs. I'm like, no, I don't want to do PDFs. So is there a way, I think we're doing that attachment. If you do all those attachments, we're going to deliver a PDF. But it's easier to do the docx templates. Can we do your multiple attachments and then do that data file collection or whatever it is, and then append them all into one if needed, or is that too much of a thing for today?
So I think I know this because I saw it. You were breaking up quite a bit when you were just talking here.
Sorry.
But I think I got the gist from the DocAssemble question channel. So you have a bunch of docx files, and you were using include docx to get them into one document. It wasn't for like different sections of the document. It was because you wanted them to be in one. You wanted them to be delivered as one thing for the user to download at the end, right? That was the goal?
Yeah, conditionally, and they each have their own formatting.
Okay. So I think that's a perfect use case for using PDF concatenate. So
right. Even though they're docx files.
Right. You can turn them into the PDFs
right.
first. And
okay.
Actually, there is docx concatenate if you wanted to let people download one big docx file with all of the stuff to edit. You don't even care about that use case. Okay.
No, I don't want a docx.
All right. You want the output to be a PDF no matter what.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think we could probably do that and break that down. That sounds like a good question. And then Mia, I don't know if you have made progress on the question that you had. Is Mia on?
Yeah, she's there.
Yeah.
I am. Michelle was helping me with it earlier. We were able to figure it out.
Okay, great. Great. Okay. Anybody else have other coding questions? We kind of line up, figure out how much time to do on each thing. You can save them if you're not sure or ready to ask them yet. But
is there a way to change the format of question block headings as they appear on the screen? Because we have some very long titles.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the official legal name of the form, and it takes up like 3 lines, and we don't want to split it up, but it looks really ugly. It's unreadable.
Is that the supplement, affidavit of indigency supplement? What if you just call it affidavit of indigency supplement?
Sure.
Yeah, I think changing the wording would probably be a good idea, because it's still going to be hard to read if it's like a super long heading.
Right. So okay, we'll just change the word, and then we won't really worry too much about it.
Yeah, and then the sub question, you can give a little explanation of a little bit more about.
But then that turns into SME copywriting.
Would you say copyright?
Yeah, no, like SME, subject matter expert, writing the words, right? They write the language.
Oh,
you can write it. You can write it.
Okay.
And then
don't worry about giving a draft for every stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always think it's better to present something.
Right.
That sort of goes to the thing is that what I'd really like is when people are working on forms is to go read a little bit of context about what they are and who they're for and what they're supposed to be doing. Because I think that when you're in this project, you're not just learning how to turn a form into automate it, but you're also learning about how people you know, you're learning the law, how people use these forms and what they're used for, and procedures and practices, which I think is valuable.
I agree with that, Caroline. I think that's important. I think you often do put on the Trello card some kind of extra resources. So I think that going forward, that's a good idea to keep that up, and kind of we can all, if somebody does research on a form specifically and find something, they can link that on the Trello card going forward.
Yeah, just get the context for it, like who's using it, what for, and why. And that also should, if you know that, then it'll be easier to ask your questions as you're going through, and you'll think more about your user and what their, what their experience is and where they're coming from when they want to use the form.
Okay, I'm adding that to the workflow now. Thank you.
Well, why don't we get started, Caroline, with your problem? Do you want to try doing a screen share? I think this will be really helpful for people to see. So basically what we're doing is it's conditional logic about whether certain documents are bundled together or not. And then we're also using one of the ways to manipulate an attachment. So for most of our interviews, you all are having this done for you, but I think it's like a really nice way to see it, like a really common task in a online.
Like when you guys do your cover sheet, well, either cover sheet, but say you're doing your cover sheet for your user instructions, that's probably going to be a docx, right? And then you want to attach that, you want to concatenate that with your PDF forms. Could you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just breaking up, so it takes a little while for us to. It's
Okay.
lagged.
Would it help with the video was turned off? Does that?
Let's try that. Let me know. It may just be.
Yeah, that does make a difference.
Okay.
We might have a similar problem with the screen share, but we can start it. Or another option is if you put it on GitHub, then I could edit and you can narrate for me what to change.
Okay, so I only have 9 million versions.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so I'll try screen sharing, and then if it doesn't work, I'll push it to GitHub for you. Screen share.
I'm also aware we're going to probably have a couple people come on right at 1, because I don't think we maybe should let people know that we'll probably generally start about 10 minutes early, because it seems like what we've been able to do.
Bye, Mark.
Yeah. Bye, Mark. I think I heard Caroline breaking up even then when her video wasn't on, so I'm not convinced it'll be that much better. Just FYI, when we're making our decisions about that.
Did you just stop speaking there, or did you also break?
Oh no, I just stopped. I am able to stop talking sometimes.
All right. So should I go, or should I just let you talk amongst yourselves and post to GitHub?
Share it.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and let's see how it goes. I mean, the other thing is it doesn't have to update that quickly as long as we can see what's on the screen. But
Okay. All right. Now, maybe if I didn't have so many windows open, I'll just close everything there. Okay. Now, this is going to be, we'll go through it. We go through the interview really. Okay. So, I guess the best thing to do is, I'm not sure where I am because I have I've got so many versions that I'm trying to do. So so here's I have a base YAML, where you do with the one attachment block in the end. What I did was this one, depending on the questions you answer, that tells you which so depending on your questions, you get admin review or bank levy or equitable adjustment, these different forms. And so let's see what the latest version is. Okay, so here's my little set of instructions that, you know, it's a docx and it's friendly, it's 2 columns, it's readable, it's got headings, it's just really straightforward what you're supposed to do. And then I couldn't get, what was happening is this request for administrative review was taking on the same format as this. I did it as and so then I just took it and I pasted it in here. But one of the problems I was having is this page should have a 1-inch margin. This page should have a small margin. This page should have a 1-inch margin. And here you can see it starting to pick up the style from the original, from that first, and that's just pasted. And then, okay, so then this is the equitable adjustment that's working. For some reason that was working. Now, let me just show you some of the other varieties. So here, this is where the admin review was, this is when I did the include docx. So this is pulling up the styles from the original one. And weirdly enough, it's doing this one perfectly. God knows, I have no idea why that is. And I know it has something to do with section breaks. And then this is the rest of the equitable adjustment. So,
Okay.
so there's a, those are my problems. So I guess,
I think it would help, Caroline.
okay, so.
Yeah, to upload it
yeah.
on GitHub if that's okay. It'll make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And make sure all the
that
forms are in there
makes
too.
sense.
All the templates.
And
All the templates.
yeah, they're all every possible permutation. I'll do that, and you can go answer somebody else's question. Oh gosh, here we go. Packages.
So maybe
I don't know if you
unshare
can
the
at the same
screen, or
time.
whoever wants to unshare the screen.
Yeah, stop sharing, and you guys
There
can
we
talk
go.
about something else, and then talk about yourself.
Sure.
Let's see.
Quentin, did
So-
you identify any other things that we could talk about?
I could look at my finishing carpentry question from like way back when I still had time to work on finishing carpentry, or we could talk about Redis. Have the MVP
Redis?
going.
Reddit.
Redis. It's a way
The
to
signature issue.
store
Oh.
information cross interview. So it turns out the signature problem is a bigger problem, is a more complex situation
Really?
than first anticipated. But I've got, I believe, the MVP going. I have not tested it thoroughly for a sample interview. But I had wanted to show the signatures in the co-signers, on the co-signers page as well. So
with all of finished signatures.
as they were updated. So I'd hope to give them a similar status page as the user. But that's even when I like turn privacy and persistence to what they need to be, I don't get the session error. I think it doesn't update, if I recall correctly. It doesn't work. Whatever it is, it doesn't work. But I don't think that's really relevant to like a group. I don't know. I don't think it's conducive to a group discussion.
Perhaps maybe Eric, Sam, and well, it's just Eric and Sam right now. Those questions that you had about some formatting and stuff, maybe we can have a quick look at those, because I think that's going to be relevant to a lot of people on this call.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, even if we can just take a look at the specific formatting you want to change, and everyone could benefit probably from the illustration.
Yeah, and also something that we can, I think, could deal with in little nuggets.
It seemed like we resolved that issue by saying, well, you just phrase it better, or you make it more usable or readable. You don't have to literally transport unwieldy text from a form into the interview.
Mm.
Do you
think that's
have what errors are there right now? Do you have like very specific problems we could demo?
But like, you know, the, people can run into an interview where they do need to have very long text.
Okay.
I'm
sure.
just saying, like, maybe it'd be worth demoing how to do that anyway, if there aren't other
I think
things.
we have like other more pressing issues, don't we, Sam?
Oh, sure. Do those.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the moment, it'd be kind of tough to demo our code because,
Okay.
like,
Well, okay. I have a suggestion then. We want to allow for people to put their income in and select the interval based on the usability feedback we received. And the code that I gave Sam didn't work, so we were thinking maybe for the demo we'd have to not do that, but we could work on that. That seems like it would be really useful.
Okay. Yeah, let's take a look at that. That sounds good, actually.
I think I do want to interrogate at some point what we consider MVP type of thing, right? If it's just getting the form online in a way that they're not filling out a PDF, I think there's a lot they've done to achieve that. So I still think this sounds valuable. I just want to maybe ask that question as we go, right? I mean,
Sure.
As we make progress there.
Well, yeah, from my point of view, not knowing so much about the form, like we had talked to Kate and I can go study about it, but I'm not in Boston, so I'm not, it's coming from this point of view, I'm learning about the form. And so then the judgment is to not do too much like innovative work in exchange for speed,
Sure.
given the lack of information. That's my judgment from my point of view.
So why don't we take a look at it? And I think even if, no matter what, I mean, eventually that's a feature that we're going to want. So yeah,
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm
let's see
excited
how
to do
we
that.
can get in about, like 15 or 20 minutes and then we'll see.
Right.
We can reevaluate.
Sure.
Let me try to join on my other computer.
Eric, you still have the code that has the choices in it, right?
Yeah, I do. What's the best way to demo this? I honestly don't know.
I think probably it's relatively short so we can get to that screen that shows the behavior and that you want, and then we can then look at the code. But screen sharing, generally.
Well, Sam, you have the most recent, so can you show yours or? No, I have it. I'm running it right now. Let me show this.
I was gonna say I could. It's a little broken right now. I'm trying to fix through it.
Yeah, but we're just looking at the code, right? To write the code. We're not necessarily trying to demo the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And also, I know it can be some pressure, but don't feel like
I'll
you're
take the
has to
pressure.
work
I'll take
before
the
you can try to get help getting it working. It's okay. People learn a lot from seeing errors and learning how to troubleshoot them.
How to actually figure out how to get through that. I think that's a very beneficial skill to learn.
Okay, so I'm loading I'm running our most up to date. So we wanted to look at.
Okay. Yeah.
So where's the income? That's what we're looking for.
If you hit the right arrow there, the next result.
Click on all of these.
Is that Caroline?
Oh yeah, sorry.
It just dragged.
Sorry.
Okay, so this isn't the code. You took the loops. You took the interval code out, right, Sam? So I'm gonna have to just show.
Yeah, it did.
This isn't in the interview because I was writing it, and we're not really sure how to use GitHub yet. So like I just wrote it loose, but this is what I had come up with. We can look at if this would work or what to do.
Okay.
This to like be copied and pasted into the larger interview.
That's a
There was
good
one
way to
thing-
test small piece of code. I think that works well.
There was one thing that I noticed when I looked up how to do it, and I tried working on it for like just a little bit of time last night, is that when it says on line 18 in 21 and 24, the double equal sign after that, I'm not sure if this is super important, but annual, monthly, and weekly should be in like single quotations too. It seemed to like kind of get to the next step after I did that. I'm not sure if that's like necessary though.
Oh, the choices, you mean?
Yeah, each if statement.
Single quotations.
Yeah, annual, monthly, and weekly.
It doesn't matter. You just can't mix them.
Oh, well then I'd rather not.
Oh, I thought it was.
So-
If, for example, you have an apostrophe or a weird symbol like that, then you want to put them in quotes.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah,
Right,
it'll be
Quentin?
fine. That's right. I actually don't even know if, I think the one thing to watch out for almost always is something that has a special meaning in the YAML. So like a colon, for example.
So
I think
let's
this
put it this way.
Fine.
Let's put it
Let's
this
put that
way.
aside. Let's put that aside for now.
Sure.
Rather than the YAML thing, but yeah. So let's see. So you can think here, what would be the useful information you want to get? I mean, you can have a bunch of conditions like you're doing down here on lines 18 through 26.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like what you're doing is doing an if statement basically, right?
Yeah.
To see what they wrote as the frequency. What happens when you want to translate it, or if you wanted to make it add some other options, you're going to have to adjust that code there, right? We could,
Yeah.
we could just actually use the numbers directly. That would be another option.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I recommend. So if we want our value to end up being a number rather than text, after the input type, we also would need to say a data type. So why don't we go ahead and do that? We're going to change those into numbers. We're going to make the text display still, but we're going to have it be mapped to a number on the other side.
Oh, okay, that's genius. Okay, yeah, great. How do I do that?
So I'll keep it indented line 7. I'll make a new line, and we're going to set the data type here. We want it to be an integer. I mean, there's no reason to make it a fraction, but you can either choose
Int or integer?
Data type integer, yeah. Data type number would let it have a decimal point and then have a,
Okay.
but we don't need that for this. So typically what we want to do is make yearly be 1, monthly be 12, weekly be 52. So like we're making it fractions of a year. That's kind of the easiest way to think about income periods.
Okay. And then just put the number there and then add a text label or something? Or...
So what we would do to get that on the left is you can keep the text
Okay.
on the left, and then you'd put a colon, and then you can put the number on the right.
After, where in relation to the hyphen?
Let me grab a little arrow here. So right there after the word annual, put a colon, a space,
On the right,
and a
yeah.
number that corresponds to it.
Oh, okay, so 1. I see. I get you.
Just like fields. Yep.
Like that?
Yes. Okay. I think your code is going to be a really good illustration down here on lines 19. Why don't we comment it out for now? Who was it? I think was Mia. Were you the one who taught me that trick of dragging
Me.
the mouse?
Just do it like
Me.
that?
No,
Taught
Mia. No, I think that's Mia.
No,
Not me.
it was me.
Al
Michelle.
taught me.
There's so many M's. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's great. You have to select 18 through 28 and hit the indentation. So like command.
No, that's not what I was going for. We want to comment this out. So you can just hold down the Alt key till you get your cursor changes into a little plus.
Oh, yeah.
A
Okay.
little plus. Yeah, just like that. And then drag down, without dragging over, just drag straight down. And now you're using multi-line editing. This is like a cool thing in CodeMirror. So you want to be all the way over in the rightmost leftmost column, sorry, not rightmost.
You're going to go
I would
from
drag that left
17
again.
down.
There you go. And now hit the pound sign. Hashtag
Gotcha.
Octothorpe. Okay. So I would actually comment out this whole block and make a new block, but keep this block as a model. So we make sure that we're doing the same things as this one does. All right. So we're going to make this a code block. And now we want to set, you have to specify both annual and monthly income. Is that the way it works?
No, the form itself asks how much money did you make in the last 12 months?
Okay.
And make it more accessible by saying, letting them choose the interval for which they might know how much they make.
Okay, so we want to say their total income for the whole year, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. So we need the target variable is an annual.
Okay. So I don't know what variable you're using for that, but you could probably adjust that later. So let's just, for now, let's do something like total annual income. So indent it. Is going to be equal to their amount, the income amount, divided by the period,
By
what you called the income jobs interval, and then multiplied by 12. Sorry, let me think about this. Okay, that,
No, just multiplied by the interval.
yeah.
Because one will be
yes,
a whole
yes,
year.
you're right, multiplied by the interval, sorry. Yeah, you're right, Michelle, good catch. So yeah,
Math.
change the divided to a multiply.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because we're normalizing it to always be a year. Great. So if they put in annual, then we don't change it, transform it at all. So now a nice thing here is like we could add some other periods in if we wanted to, right? So a lot of people get paid every 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah.
So that would be,
You just do.
I actually literally write out every 2 weeks because biweekly can be confusing to people.
Okay, you're right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Should I add that right now, or should I keep?
Well,
moving?
let's try running our code first and see if it does what we want. So, oh, you already have gross annual as a variable. You already had. Great.
Oh, there's no mandatory code block.
We want to reference it somewhere. So you could just make a new temporary question right here and make it mandatory.
Just anyone, or sorry, where are you pointing?
Sorry, that was left over.
Oh, okay.
Maybe like put it right here because we're going to take it away. Make a new question block right after this one, where we just show the total amount. That's all we're going to do, right?
Okay. Yeah. And then what was it called? Can I just put it in the question text?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
We are missing one thing here. Probably someone has noticed.
An ID. An ID, right, Dave?
Not an ID, just something about how we're displaying that value. We're missing.
How do we display variables as text, right?
Do you need a function?
Nope. No, just we need to surround it with the make.
Oh,
object.
right. Yeah, yeah. I got you. Guys. All right.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah. That's
Okay, so this should be good enough for us to see if our calculation is right. So we need a definition of a word 0 users. So we could fix that by just including the basic questions file at the top.
Where can I find those? Maybe in.
Yeah, we could get it in there really quickly if you want. If I can tell you what we needed to say. So if we go up to line 1, make a new line there.
Good to know.
But you're right, that's a good method, is look at another file that has it and copy it in.
What do I need to write?
So we're going to write include, colon, then a new line. And this is a list of files. So if you remember, we're going to indent, yep. And each line is going to start with a hyphen because it's a YAML list.
Okay.
And it's docassemble dot, so lowercase docassemble. And then MAV, those are all capital letters. Virtual court, so MA virtual court. Not an second V, sorry. And then the C in court is also capitalized.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and then put a colon at the end of that. At the end of line 2. Yep.
Oh.
And then just a little bit of a lag, sorry, for me.
Yeah.
And then basic dash questions dot YML. It's going to go right next to the colon. So you're going to delete on line 3, delete. You can just delete that till you get back onto the previous line. There you go. Basic dash questions. No space after the colon here. I realize that's confusing.
Interesting.
Yeah, here we're asking where it's a single file. So the colon and a space means it's a different part of
Oh, now it's basic questions.
basic questions dot YML.
Why? Great. Now it will.
Yeah, let's try the save and run. Let's see how it works.
Cool.
Those will be the easiest case for sure.
Mm-hmm. So that looks right to me.
Let's change it to a month. 1200.
We didn't. Did we oh yeah, we did. Okay.
Yeah, that looks good. So that's the basics of how I would do it. I want to show you one more thing. Let's comment out lines 11 through 14. So obviously you could add more periods if you wanted to.
11.
Yeah, including the choices.
Wait, I go here and then I do
This
that.
time we're going to do it right there, right in front of the C. But
The comments
yeah,
to not mess with the other levels.
exactly.
Okay.
And then weekly as well. Don't forget to comment out weekly. Okay. Now after data type integer, we're going to provide the choices with code. There's actually a built-in function in docassemble that handles coming up with these income periods for you, which is kind of handy. So it's a common thing to collect income from somebody.
Great.
So we're going to make a new line. Yep. And it's going to be code, colon. We're only calling a single function, so you could either use the vertical pipe and put it on a new line, or you can just put it right there and keep it on the same line. So those are two choices that would mean exactly the same thing. But we're going to just write income underscore period. Meaning the word P period. And then open and close parentheses. So this is a function that basically returns the same list that you had written out there manually. And
Okay.
the thing about this is it can be translated. So let's try saving and running it again and just see how it's different this time. It could be that I was hoping I memorized it correctly, but it could be income periods or period lists. Let me just double check. So,
I have the documentation. Income module.
okay, great. Yeah, let's go to the functions page.
Where's the function page?
So this is a documentation of, actually, I think I used the same name as Jonathan did. So that actually is a good place to look. This is the documentation for my income module.
Oh, okay.
So actually we might do that next, but let's start out by scroll a little bit down. It's actually the same name, so we should be able to use this. Just be called period list. I might not have written it down here. Maybe I scroll a little bit further down the page.
Income period. No.
Income period. Yeah, no, that's not it. Okay, I didn't write it. I didn't document it. It's just period underscore list.
Period underscore list.
Period underscore list. Yeah, that's the rule we're going to use there. Not income period. It's.
And how are you checking that? Do you have secret documentation?
No, I found it on the DocAssemble documentation.
Oh, okay.
So I'll link you to the function. I'll put that on the chat. It uses that same concept of dividing the periods into normalized to a year. Now we should be able to save and run it again.
Wow,
Just give it a couple more options.
that's really fancy.
And it should still work the same way. So let's try like twice per month. So that would be 20 multiplied by 26. So you could stick with another nice round number like 100. Yeah, 2,400, of course. So actually every 2 weeks is the 26.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it's good to have
slightly
a function for you. So you can't make, you're stuck with the arithmetic mistake someone else made, at least. You can't add your own mistakes.
Well, twice per month. Is that like a different way of counting it? Given the offset of like a month is 4.3 weeks or something?
Well, those are both common paycheck periods in the United States, at least.
Okay.
So yeah, people get paid, they might get paid
Twice per month.
2 times a month or every 2 weeks. It ends up 24 versus 26 pay periods.
Gotcha. And so that's something I wouldn't have thought of without using the basic questions. So this is great improvement. Okay. So it works. We confirmed.
Yeah.
So what I did was include the basic questions and then the data type integer and then inserted the code here. This was the key line, the period list.
Yeah, and then the key was using just some multiplication there on line 33. So it wasn't intuitive that you don't have to just keep the choices as text. The choices can be numbers, they can be objects, they can be all different kinds of values.
So
Yeah.
how translatable is period underscore list? Would DocAssemble translate that, or would we be able to translate that in a custom way if we chose?
There is a way to customize it, and that's actually the way that I added my own version of it that adds a couple of other income periods that Jonathan doesn't include.
Great.
It's using the translation function. So I translated it into English, but it's a substitute function.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah, so if we wanted to standardize all of our interviews to use a new list of pay periods, because suddenly everyone's has a new value for that, or people start getting paid every day, because we have hyperinflation or something.
Yeah.
Or do you-
And that would show up in the spreadsheet, or we'd have to remember that and do that, like
It's a function.
customize.
It's not part of the spreadsheet translation system. It's a different translation system.
So
we
maybe
can-
we should note the variables the text that we create that won't be in the spreadsheet.
So this isn't really, yeah. I mean, it's a good idea to keep track of things that will need to be translated. I think that's a great idea. It should also be part of our testing too,
Yeah.
to identify things that aren't translated.
Yeah.
But it doesn't just allow for translation, it allows for updating the functionality. That was my point. So we could add new items to it by changing that function. And then it would be available to every
Yeah.
interview that uses it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So I know, Caroline, you probably have your code up on GitHub now. Before I let Eric and Sam go, though, do you have other questions about this code and what we've just done together here?
This cleared up a lot of questions for me, so I really appreciate the walkthrough. And I think I can get a lot further with this then. One question I do have is it going to be a lot more difficult to integrate this into an existing loop? Like we have a loop for the jobs, and we could ask this same question for the income for each of those jobs with the interval as well. That's pretty straightforward to add.
It is pretty straightforward. So you see how we have our question on line 33. It says users bracket 0. And that's for one person, right? The first person who's using the interview. And we don't even bother. I mean, we're just thinking it's a one-person interview, which is true, actually. For the affidavit of indigency, each person has to fill out their own. You can't collect each household member's income. But if you had multiple income sources that you're trying to gather together, and those were in a list, we could replace that. It would be like user 0.income 0 will be their first income source. User 0.income 1 will be their second one. If you replace that with an I, it would work for in general. It would work for all of the items in the list.
Right. Okay. So you just add the list variable after the period in the variable name.
In the list name, you put a bracket and then a letter I, and then it works for any item in the list.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all you'd have to do.
Yeah. Okay, I think I can probably figure that out. Yeah. What you said, Jim? Any questions?
I'm good. I'm still just trying to crack at the thing that we were having trouble with earlier, but everything that we just went over was great. That's going to help out a lot. And I still have the backed up version, so we'll be able to hopefully just be able to toss it in.
Cool.
All right. Caroline, do you want to share the link to your GitHub repository and we can walk through that?
It's okay if it's on my Mass Legal Help repository, not on Suffolk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think I have the docassemble.ssa, but you know what? I can use the Mass Legal Help server.
So
DA Mass Legal Help. DA Dev.
DA-dev Mass Legal Help. Yeah. So what am I'm sending you the GitHub thing, right?
Yeah, send me the GitHub, and then I'll log in and do the screen share.
Here it is. Chat. Okay, I hope this is it.
All right. Oh, that actually worked. Okay. Of course, I can open it. Anyway, Zoom has put in some dumb privacy thing where you can't copy from the chat.
Oh,
It seems to be working on this one. I've had that problem with a lot of my Zooms. I finally figured it out.
you can't copy. I can copy.
I
from
can. I was wrong. I was diagnosing the problem before it actually happened for real. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull that interview in to the playground. So what our basic strategy is going to be here is Caroline has a bunch of conditional documents that only sometimes become part of the final form that people download. So we're going to make some separate attachment blocks.
For each one, an attachment block for each one, right?
And then we're going to make the final attachment download using a code block. Go ahead.
Would you do those attachments? They're not actually, it's each YAML doesn't, each YAML apart from the financial statement does not represent a unique template. So I'm guessing that you put all the templates either. I've got one of those YAMLs is a 07, I think it's 07 get forms or pick forms YAML. Oh, and then there's the base. So does it make most sense to put it in the base or that DBD07 shared form?
Yeah, I think the base makes sense. It's where you have your other attachment block. It makes sense to me. Sometimes if I had a lot of attachment logic, I like on Made, I use its own file for the attachments.
Yeah.
But I think this is I think where you have it now is a good place to keep it.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's remind me, what are the different attachment variables we're going to use? And I can scroll down.
Oh, they're right there. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so just for argument's sake, I didn't realize they were right there. That's fantastic. Do you just drag them or do you click them, double click them, and they?
You just click them and then it will insert it where you want it to go.
Okay, so let's start off with that help for obligors test 3.4, which is the one right below. You can see it in the attachment below.
Okay. So this is the parent one. This includes other things?
Yeah, that's the parent one.
Okay, so we're going to not do that one, actually.
Keep that one, right. Okay. So then the next one, I've just got to look at my screen because I've got so many versions.
Is there one of these help for obligors that doesn't include the other documents? Or do they all have a copy?
Oh, you know what? They all include.
Okay. Well, that's fine. That's an easy change. We can copy one of them. Let me just do a sync. Hold on, let me save first. It's gonna make an error, but that's okay.
That's right. Of course, you don't want it to have the include if you're going to try and 3.3 doesn't work. Includes 3.2. Here's 3.4.
I don't understand what that is. Oh, okay. I haven't used the server in a while. Maybe I don't have my profile set up right. Okay.
Do you want me to?
I can download it. That just works as well.
Okay.
Okay, so let's copy one of these down.
Just try, do the test 3.4. The obligors is, yeah, do test 3.4. Yeah.
And I don't remember. I think I'm sharing my whole screen. Does everyone still see? Well, I haven't opened it yet, but.
I think we can just see the list of interviews.
The Word hasn't opened yet.
Yeah, Nick, see Word?
Not yet.
Oh, you don't? Okay, so. You do?
Do not. You do? You're just yawning, man. There we go. Can we see it now?
I see it now.
Okay.
Okay.
This is just a label for you to help, right?
Yeah. In fact, it's wrong anyway. It should say 3, 4. Okay. So, all right. Yeah. Do all of that.
And I'll give it a new name. So
There's
it's,
probably a bunch of section breaks in there as well.
I deleted the second column. Oops.
Yeah, that's just text. Oh yeah, so that if admin review at the bottom, you don't need that one at the bottom. Oh, wait a second. Okay. So, why did we lost the column break? There we go.
Okay, back to not deleting anything. Okay, so we're just going to delete everything after this. Is it one page or is it potentially more than one?
It should just be one page. Yeah.
Okay. So I can delete all this stuff.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out how to get back up there.
So what happens? You delete the section break, then you lose the 2 columns. That's what's happening, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, which is weird because I'm here.
Section breaks are so crazy making.
Well, you know what? That's okay for our test. We just don't want to have anything included.
Right.
We'll wrestle with Word. All right, and let me just do share here. We're gonna upload this file.
Oh, it's probably because it's called no.
Right. Just wanted to see what there was. This makes a lot of sense.
Oh, that's why. Is it finished?
All right, so we're gonna give it a variable name. Maybe something like cover page would be good.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
I don't think whatever we want, really. Thank you. Help for parents. Seems like a good one.
Mm-hmm. Do you have to put the extension on it then, the file name? Or will it know?
You do not need to put the extension on it.
Okay.
Which is, yeah, there's some places where it's inconsistent, but in this instance, we want to keep it without
If you're
the,
going to turn it, that's the file name, but ultimately it's going to get its extension when it's finished, right?
yes. You could reason your way to it, but the ultimate endpoint is, yeah, it's hard sometimes to know when you need to include and when you don't. Here, it can have 2 different formats. So if we said the file name with the extension, C,
Yeah.
then it would be .pdf.pdf and .docx.docx or whatever.
Yeah.
It'd be .pdf.docx, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, let's try a couple. I guess we don't necessarily have to go through all of them, but we probably have time.
No, they're not all there. Those are all just different versions of what works and doesn't work. But they all, when I pushed to GitHub, it was just everything. So
Okay.
The first one you want to do is
Admin review.
admin review _ page 1-2.
Okay.
And these are just like placeholders because ultimately they'll be one file, but they weren't working because they had different sections. I was breaking them up. Okay. So you're going to do variable name admin 1, maybe. I don't know.
Sure. And the file name here actually doesn't matter that much because we're going to combine it into one file.
Right.
Maybe
Yeah.
you want to let people download a zip file of all of the Word documents too, potentially, if they might want to edit it.
Yeah. So this just for, yeah. But this is page 1 and page 2 are going to be one file ultimately anyway. It's just I broke them up because I was trying to deal with stuff with different margins. So for now, you want to just call it admin page 1 or admin review page 1, whatever. And then do the same, and it's admin review just for an exercise, page 2. Admin review page 2-2. I think that's what it is. What is it? It's, yeah, 2-2 is the second template. And then there's a third one, which is the equitable adjustment. Which is, what's that one? Equitable adjustment. Okay. That one is, okay, so that is equitable adjustment. I think it's August 3rd, 20-2. Let me just, my short-term memory is shot. To August 30th, 2020 -2. Equitable adjustment -Aug 3, 2020-2. And there we have a whole variety of different styles and margins and the works.
Expected workers showing up. Won't get too much background noise. All right, so is that all of the files, Caroline? What is this one here, the SOFC?
Let's skip. If we do that, that's the financial statement's going to be 40 more questions in the interview. So I figure this is the quickest way to just get, do the exercise and to get through to the end as quickly as possible.
Okay. Great. Okay, well, we can do that. So let's see. Let's go ahead and think through what our code block is going to be too. So we're going to need a new variable here that represents the combined file. So I might call it something like
File collection bundled or something. That's what you were.
Bundle. That's a good one. And the way that this works, it's generally, I like to make it a list that's empty at the beginning, use statements to add them. So I set it to a temporary variable. That way it's always adjusting to.
That's where you can append to it that way.
Yeah, if it's ever has to break out of this code block to resolve something it hasn't answered yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good habit to always set some variable you're building iteratively or with questions and if statements, set it to the file name at the end of the code block.
Does that mean you're going to put a reconsider up there or not?
Actually, I'm thinking this is a way that is a little bit more robust, depends on, it's kind of a new modifier in DocAssemble. I haven't been using it that much lately, but I think it's the better alternative here.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do is set it to depends on, and if any of these change, then this one should change too.
When you say if any of them change, what does that mean if they change?
If these variables get updated for some reason.
The variable names or the values of the variables?
The values of the variables.
Wow, that's, wow. Cool.
One thing I
I feel
don't
like
know
I've seen it before, but.
if it'll happen. Yeah, so Jonathan demonstrated this at DocaCon, and I have not been using it. I don't know if this is going to mean you get these triggered even if you don't really want them, Caroline. That's what I don't really know. So that might,
right. Yeah.
We might want to switch to reconsider. Just put a little comment in this.
Reconsider will definitely trigger them.
Not if they're behind an if statement though, because reconsider applies to the whole code block.
Okay.
It won't depend on those variables being defined if they're optional inside the code block, but depends on might. It might say, okay, we always need the value of those before we do this. I don't think it's what it should do. I think depends on is different from need. So I'm hoping it'll work. Okay, so we could just make it like this, or we actually already know it's going to have at least one variable in it, right? It's going to always have the cover page.
Yeah, always have the cover page.
Might as well just make that. So if what do we add admin 1 and 2?
So if admin review, it's admin underscore review. Then admin 1. Okay, so file, bundle. Oh, append. Is that right?
Yep.
Oh, look at that. Admin 1. And then file, but and then, yeah.
And admin 2, right? Because those are just one
Yeah,
document.
that's right. Yeah.
And then if
It's equit underscore adjust. And I'm just going to double check those variable names, but I'm pretty sure that's what they are. Equit underscore adjust, admin underscore review. Yeah, those are the oh, they're actually higher up in the, oh, you don't see the template anyway. Yeah, okay, good. Right, okay. And this, okay, so the code is this.
yeah, and we're going to create our PDF document. Just actually, we don't need to worry about because it's lower down in the code block, all these statements are going to run. So I actually don't need to change the name of the PDF list that we were just working with. We're going to just make one document at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to call this function PDF concatenate, and it can take a list as an argument. It'll unpack the list, or you could put a series of documents in commas. But here, the list makes sense. What we already created. And then it takes a keyword argument that you should always provide. Otherwise, you get it named file.pdf, which isn't very helpful. So we would call it probably I don't know. What do you want to call it?
So this actually would be the thing that's down below, right? I mean, we're going to do away with that. We have that other attachment block at the bottom. It would just be help for obligor parents or something like that, right? Help, yeah.
It's going to be a PDF because we're not worrying about a docx, right?
Right.
That
that's
not
right.
need to be in quotes?
It does need to be in quotes, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's no secret there. Yeah, I just made a mistake.
Okay, I was just like, what? Where is that coming from?
New
Okay.
nuance of Python you didn't know.
God. There's been a few surprising inconsistencies. So.
Maybe worth showing how you can make a zip file too. What do you
Well, just for the sake of teaching Tuesday in the video.
Okay. And I think the function is just zip file. Yeah.
So if you make a zip file, does that mean that if somebody downloads the zip file, they can unpack all the different docx files in there? Or does it zip the PDF?
Well, we can choose what we want it to do. So I think that, where am I in the wrong place? I think we do want to make it a bundle of just the docx files.
Yeah.
So it's the same attachment variables, because that's what we were making our list out of, right? We're making them the attachment variables. And the attachment variable is a PDF and a docx. Well, PDF concatenate knows to get the PDF version of the file. Zip file is not that smart. If we just want it to have the zip files that just only zip up the docx, which I think is right. One way to do it is with a list comprehension, which is a little advanced, I guess, but I'll still put it in there anyway. You can just keep it as magic code. For each individual attachment variable, I'm going to put in a comment to explain it at least. So it's really a bundle of two different, each attachment variable actually represents two documents, a PDF and a docx. Confusingly, the attribute names are .pdf and .docx. So you might think, oh, that's a file name. It's not a file name. It's the PDF attribute of an object, of a file object.
The .pdf is the dot extension is the attribute. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a kind of confusing naming thing.
Right. Wouldn't you want to do, okay.
I want to do a file name here. Is that what you're going to say?
No, you're saying zip file item.pdf, but I'm waiting till you get to the end to see, because I would have thought it would be .docx.
It is. That's another mistake. Good catch.
Oh.
Yeah, I was getting mixed up about what you want to have in the bundle.
Okay.
Let me just double check whether we're going to need the .zip or not here. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, it looks like we do need it.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is good. Does this get triggered anywhere, this event here already?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. So let's, so we're not going to use the
get
attachment.
forms. Yeah, that's the final.
Yeah, that's the one thing is we can't really do that anymore.
Yeah.
There is like, it's a kind of a complicated way to make it so you can use the built-in send email attachment.
Oh, right. Uh-huh.
But you actually already mentioned that, Caroline, right? You had alluded to that a little earlier. When you
Which?
were about using the file, DA file collection and setting those attributes manually. Is that what you were talking about? Maybe you weren't even talking about what I'm saying.
I'm not sure. I'm not following what you're talking about. So I don't know what I was talking. That's true. You couldn't hear me. You could only hear every fifth word. Probably still true.
I'm going to use another thing that people may or may not be familiar with, which is, well, a couple things. First, this zip file, the colon, that just is like a shortcut. I happen to remember to a little icon that looks like a zip file. So
Oh, that's
okay.
nice.
Nice to have that little decoration there. And I'm using a markdown link.
Ah, right.
And then to get the actual URL of the document so people can download it, I use .url4, which is a method on the file bundle zip.
I think you need that to be in Mako.
In what, Michelle?
Like, yeah, I think you
Mako
need that
text.
to be in Mako brackets.
Good call. And I don't remember a good icon to use for a docx file, so I'm gonna just.
You're not gonna use the docx. You're gonna do a PDF there, right?
Yeah, I'll double check anyway, instead of, because I might have actually misremembered zip file. Now I'm thinking it's file zip. This is where I'm looking on the Font Awesome
For icons.
gallery of free icons. So I can't promise those are installed on the DocAssemble server that MLRI has set
Right.
up. It might not be.
Probably not.
Yeah, I had the order wrong. File PDF. Probably it's file zip too. File archive. All right.
Will it break if it's calling? Oh no, it's just a URL, so it'll just be a broken URL if it doesn't.
Yeah, it'll show like the little missing image icon.
Yeah.
So it's no big deal. This is probably not the way you're going to want to format it, but just to let people see the options that you
Yeah.
have. All right, let's try running through and seeing it. I'm aware that we're almost at 2.
Right.
Do we have any deadlines as far as can go over a few minutes? Probably looking at David.
I'm okay.
There's a
David's
hard stop at 2.
probably-
You do have a hard stop at 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, we didn't get it working yet. What did we get there with no content and attachment? Let's see. Tell us which attachment Nope. I have a misspelling here. All right, let's see. Can we get through in 2 minutes? I'm imagining it's going to take more than 2 minutes to
I
finish filling.
think it will be. Just, yeah. Oh, don't go back. Get rid of the DORs wrong. You don't want DORs wrong.
Oh, okay.
I cannot pay all the back child support. Yeah, that's one. Yeah.
Do I need to have at least one child?
Doesn't matter. That question needs to be moved. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
And you can just put any old dates. You can just put anything in here. Just say yes for everything. Yeah,
Okay.
it was, so it's everything's right. Yeah. Do SSI and TFDC.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I'm imagining that would have a follow-up question, say when I stopped if I didn't say that.
Yeah. Oh, you want your kids to get something here. SSI is fine. Yeah. This is just so we can get equitable adjustment and also an answer on the administrative review. Yeah.
You can just hit enter on dates, by the way, if you want the current date. You can just hit enter.
Oh.
Well, it's not a date field, or?
Doesn't work in Fire. I'm in Firefox, so that might.
Oh, I got it.
Yes or no does not matter.
Yeah, they have to know whether you did or you didn't and why. No. Yeah, no. No. Don't have any proof. No. Now, yes, you're going to say yes here.
Okay.
Okay, next. Whatever. Oh, it's going to get you on the social security number, I'm afraid.
Oh, I forgot. All right.
Quentin, you go backspace and fix a 6 to a 5. Oh, just do sign on my device. Oh, yes. Okay.
Well, that wasn't too bad. We're going over by a minute. Hopefully we're not making. Okay, so it
I'm
didn't.
about
So what happens with the download is PDF. Oh.
Here, I'll change the share. See. So I'm getting prompted to open it. It's
But that's the zip you downloaded, right?
Yep. Has all my files in there. Then we have the PDF
Let's see how this works.
browser. So we still have the extras.
Well, that's okay. Okay, this is good because this is what I want. I have the small margins here. If you go down, we want big margins, small margin. Yeah.
Okay, I really gotta click a button that's probably gonna make you guys all disappear.
Okay. Thanks, David.
Good for other people to see too.
Thanks, Quentin.
All right.
Guys,
Can't hear.
Bye.